I'm Lexy Close with Build It Up East Tennessee, and today I'm going to run us through starting seeds indoors. It is a rather beautiful day in mid-February. It feels like it's about 60 degrees out. It's in East Tennessee here, and I'm sure all of you are getting the gardening bug and wanting to get a go on getting your gardens ready for the summer. However, for a lot of plants, we're still 2 or 3 months out before you can start planting them, but there are a number of plants we can put in for the spring. So we're going to talk a little bit about how to set up all your equipment and what supplies you're going to need to successfully start seeds. So first, you're going to need some grow lights. And this is just a regular shop light. I think it probably is about $40 for this assembly. And with my setup, I need 3 of these in order to do 4 trays of plants. So it's really just going to depend on what size shop light you get and what kind of space you have, how many you're going to need. But I found that the 3 set side to side does really well for 4 trays. So these I think are T12 bulbs, and I found also that T8s work well. T8s are a little more energy efficient than T12s. This is just what I found at the hardware store when I went to buy them. I found that you can also get T5 bulbs, but I found that those are pretty intense on your plants, and so you have to be more careful with the distance between the light and your plant with the T5s, whereas these are cool enough, the T12s and the T8s are usually cool enough that if the plants touch the bulbs, if they grow up too high before you're able to move them, it's usually fine for them to touch the bulb. So that's just a consideration. So besides your lights, you're going to need a tray. And so this comes in 3 parts, and usually they're sold separately, although sometimes you can find a kit with all 3. But you're going to need a clear plastic dome. And if you don't want to buy this part, you can probably get away with some saran wrap. Really, this is just to retain moisture while the seeds are germinating. And as soon as the seeds germinate, you want to take this part off. Then you also have an insert, and this is what you're actually going to be planting into. They come in trays, and the inserts come in a bunch of different sizes. This is, I believe, 48 spaces for plants. In this tray, they come in, I mean, you can get them 72, 50, they come in all different sizes. It's just whatever you have available. And then you need a bottom tray that it all goes into. And you want to keep in mind that some of these trays have drainage holes in them and some of them don't. When you're in an indoor situation, you probably want them without the drainage holes. Otherwise, you're going to get water leaking all over your shelf. But if you're going to have plants outside, especially if you're going to transfer them out to harden off before transplanting, then you probably want to get trays also that have drainage holes in them so you can water them outside, or if they're outside when it rains, the water will have somewhere to go. So just keep that in mind. Make sure you notice which trays you're getting. I recommend both. You'll need them both eventually. So you can reuse some of this. I would totally recommend getting new inserts every year, there's a lot of diseases that can impact your seedlings, and to give yourself the best possible start, I would recommend new inserts every year, but you can reuse the bottom trays and the domes as well. You just want to clean them very thoroughly, and I would actually put them into a bleach solution for a couple minutes to sanitize them so that you're giving your seedlings the best possible head start on any kind of bacteria or fungi that may want to kill them. So some other equipment you might want, this is a timer that you plug your lights into, and then this plugs into the wall. And this is really nice because you can set it to automatically turn on and off. Your seedlings probably want about 14 hours of sunlight a day. And if you're like me and you have trouble remembering to go turn them on and turn them off on time, this is really helpful because it will do it automatically for you. And then this is a heat mat, and the majority of seeds you start indoors don't need a heat mat, but this is really critical for peppers and tomatoes to help them germinate, because they really want to germinate at around 80 or 90 degrees. And A lot of your spring stuff is happy at room temperature to germinate, but if you try to do peppers and tomatoes at room temperature, it's going to take them a really long time to germinate. So this heat mat is really useful. This is probably about 30 bucks to get. And really, I only have one because I usually only do one tray of peppers and tomatoes. So it just depends on what you need. There's a lot of, if you search for DIY heat mats for seed starting, there are a lot of different options out there for using like Christmas lights and all kinds of different ideas if you don't want to spend the money on an actual heat mat. So there's some options for you. So this is your basic equipment.